Mr. Speaker, I don't intend to anticipate the debate.
I will not allow you to.
Yeah, because this is just a notice of motion. But, Mr. Speaker, there are matters that surround the notice of the motion that needs your guidance and action, Mr. Speaker, because, Mr. Speaker, this is a very momentous issue. Because, as you are aware, when this country gave itself the new constitution, Mr. Speaker, Kenyans were very happy. And this is one of the moments in this House, Mr. Speaker, when we are going to exercise Article 150, which has not happened before. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a very, very important matter for this nation, Mr. Speaker, that is being exercised through this House. But having said, Mr. Speaker, as you are aware, there are members from our side and members from the other side who have signed to this petition, to this motion, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to get your assurance as the boss of this House, as the leader of this House, as the Speaker of this House, Mr. Speaker, that the 291 members of Parliament who have signed to this motion, Mr. Speaker, their safety and security will be guaranteed, Mr. Speaker. Because the motion does not end at the tabling, at the notice of motion today. It will go through a process. It will be formally again moved. Members will debate and members will vote on it. Mr. Speaker, we want those 291 members of Parliament to turn up here the day of voting, Mr. Speaker, without missing any one of them, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have just passed the new Inspector General of Police the other day here, Mr. Kanja. Not really. He must take responsibility as the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Speaker, to guarantee the safety, as the Inspector General of the country, Mr. Speaker, to guarantee the safety and the security of the 291 members. Mr. Speaker, you know this thing. What we are doing is not a small thing, Mr. Speaker. When Trump was being removed, was being impeached in the United States, Mr. Speaker, you know what he attempted to do. And what can happen here, you know, Mr. Speaker. And let us not fight, let us not begrudge anyone, because what the House is doing is constitutional, because the House is just exercising its mandate. It's not doing anything outside the Constitution. There is nothing unconstitutional that's happening in this House, Mr. Speaker. You can impeach a cabinet secretary, you can impeach a deputy president, you can impeach the president if you wish so. So, Mr. Speaker, this is an exercise that is given to us by the Constitution. So, Mr. Speaker,
you've made your point.
I have made my point, but I conclude by saying this, Mr. Speaker. That, Mr. Speaker, when we were elected, Mr. Speaker, as members of Parliament, we became the staff of the Parliamentary Service Commission. Each member here, Mr. Speaker, their employer, they are employees of the Parliamentary Service Commission, which you are the chairman, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I have spoken on behalf of the members, because when they were signing, that is what they told me, Mr. Speaker, as the minority leader. They told me, we are in support of this thing, we are really ready to move, but we want things done legally and procedurally and within the Constitution, inside Parliament and outside Parliament. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I don't want to open debate. Yes, Whip. What's your point of order?
Honourable Speaker, I also seek your guidance and indulgence on the notice of motion that has just been tabled here today, because we all agree that post-2010 Constitution, this is unprecedented. In as much as it happened years back, this is very new, post-2010 Constitution, and we will need a bit of some guidance. Ordinarily, Honourable Speaker, any motion that is brought before this House and that is of public interest goes through the entire process, including public participation, Honourable Speaker. I need to seek your guidance and indulgence on the place for public participation as far as this notice of motion is concerned. Because looking at the jurisprudence that has been made by the courts and the lower legislative arm, which is the county assemblies, on the impeachments of the governors and deputy governors, Honourable Speaker, you will realize and notice that many impeached governors and or their deputies challenge their impeachment based on the process of public participation. Honorable Speaker, this is unprecedented, and of course it's my view that to replicate the same, to what happens on the impeachment of governors and deputy governors, and they invoke the element of public participation across the country.
You've made your point.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Majority Leader. Before you, Majority Leader, Farah has been raising his hand. I'll give you 1 minute, Farah.
Mr. Speaker, I also join the other colleagues in this, but I've just one very important, most important in this country to raise. Not only do we have to protect the lives of 291 members of parliament who have appended their signature there, we must also protect the system. The IG must protect our president to the hilt. Because you know the kind of a constitution we have. Any reckless thug can decide to change the course of history if, God forbid, anything were to happen to our president. You get my point? And there are people who we have been so worried lately. I get the feeling that they can even have the capacity to plan something like that. Let us make sure this information goes out. Our president must be protected to the hilt until this motion is over. Because if, God forbid, anything were to happen, then we have something much bigger to worry about.
Thank you.
And those guys are...
You're the last on that.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My Honorable Speaker, if you will indulge me, I'll add something on security. But before that is on Standing Order 85, Honorable Speaker. 85-2, which, Honorable Speaker, I would beg, even as you guide members, that members listen, that it shall be out of order to anticipate the debate of a motion of which notice has been given by discussion upon a substantive motion or amendment, and all that is said in the standing orders, Honorable Speaker. And I say this, Honorable Speaker, because I know we are in an open and transparent society, and many of us will be invited to media stations to discuss this impeachment motion which notice has been given today. Just to caution members that it will be completely out of order to discuss the substance of the motion in media stations before debate, as is contained in our standing orders. So when we're invited to media stations, maybe we be guarded in what we discuss, so that we do not go into the substance of the motion until we are done with debate. After debate, Honorable Speaker, we are all at liberty to discuss, and that includes, Honorable Speaker, both those who have appended their signatures, like myself, and the other few who have not appended their signatures, Honorable Speaker. The 58 members who have not appended their signatures. Honorable Speaker, just to add on to what the Honorable Farah and Honorable Junnet have said, Honorable Speaker, the security of members of Parliament is paramount. Honorable Speaker, I say that looking at you, because you know on the 25th of June this year, Honorable Speaker, none other than yourself, you were a target, and you know that. And not a target for harm, but a target for elimination, based on the position you hold as Speaker and the ranking order should anything happen to the President or the Deputy President, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to beg that you take with a little more weight the issues raised by Honorable Junnet and Honorable Farah Maalim, because, Honorable Speaker, we have seen it on social media. We have been told by certain quarters that before March of 2025, they say bendera itapepea mlingoti nusu. Honorable Speaker, these are weighty issues. And I hear what the Honorable Farah Maalim is saying on the security of the President, and we have no business to advise the Inspector General and the Director of the National Intelligence Service on what to do. But for members of this House, all the 349 of them, Honorable Speaker, you must direct the Inspector General of Police, who was approved by this House less than a month ago to ensure that when this House is sitting within the precincts of Parliament and even outside and including committees of this House sitting, Honorable Speaker, members are secured.
Thank you.
And even in their homes, Honorable Speaker, they are secured. Because, Honorable Speaker, I say this, being privy to the information that I was privy to and you are privy to on the 25th of June, and knowing, Honorable Speaker, that as Honorable Junnet has said, we are not dealing with an ordinary matter, we are not dealing with an ordinary man, we are dealing with a black man with a very black heart. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Order, honorable members. Order. Order, members on their feet. Order, Deputy Speaker. Take your seat. Take your seats, those who are... Honorable members, those points raised, I'll address them later in the day. I want to direct members of the House Business Committee to retreat to room 9